Welcome back. My name is Nick, and I have Kyle here with me. Pegos with a zero on Instagram. Go follow him. He's a super talented artist, and he does all of our cool shirt designs. Go to AsArt.space to get some cool Dragonfly Gallivantsmean shirts. And just so you know, we cover a lot of his doc materials here, from Land of the Dead, John Perry deep dive, Father Gomez deep dive, to Malefa deep dive, to Harpies deep dive, top 10 moments and differences in the books to the show, to so much more. So, the ending explained, you name it. We covered every episode in breakdowns, and we also read your comments here too. But today we're breaking down Marissa Coulter. It's going to be good.
That's right.
It's going to be deep. It's going to be long.
Yes. So buckle up, everyone. I hope you're ready. I even honestly, I had to cut a lot.
All right.
Because it's a lot of Marissa Coulter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Right, so
I'm ready. Are you ready? I'm ready. I'm ready. No, I'm ready.
Okay. Okay. The woman herself was beautiful. Will saw that with shock. Lovely in the moonlight. Her brilliant dark eyes wide with enchantment. Her slender shape light and graceful. But as she snapped her fingers, the monkey stopped at once and leapt up into her arms. And he saw that the sweet-faced woman and the evil monkey were one being. And this is Will's first sight of Marissa Coulter.
In the cave, right?
In the cave, yes.
Deep
stuff. Marissa Coulter is the head of the, just like an overview, like kind of like where we get in the books, right? So she's the head of the General Oblation Board and a longtime agent of the Holy Church before she defects eventually. So her demon is a golden monkey whose name is never revealed. And she is also the estranged mother of Lyra. So her physical appearance, although we kind of touched on that in that quote there from the book, but she's singularly beautiful to the extent that most who meet her feel the need to remark upon it.
Even angels.
Yep. She's young and slender and moves with grace and elegance. She is glamorous, particularly in Lyra's view, at least in the beginning, right? Yeah. In comparison to her experience of female scholars, right? She has expensive taste in clothes, often opting for fur and silk. It said she was even able to make traveling clothes look fashionable.
Which they did a great job in the show.
Yes, she definitely especially when she's visiting our world, it's weird. She has a neo 1940s vibe that still fits. It's kind of crazy. So it said she was even able to make I repeated myself. Her hair is sleek and blonde, framing her cheeks, and she has dark eyes which often glitter with passion. So Marissa,
difference from the book for sure. The hair color.
Yes, yeah. We're definitely describing the book of Marissa Coulter,
and it's also different for Lyra too.
Yes. So she uses her sweet face and gentle musical voice to lull others into a false sense of security. So her angelic kind appearance gave her power over the children taken by the GOB, the General Oblation Board, also known as GOB, while her charm and intoxicating voice also gave her sexual power over many men. Right? So Lord Asriel noticed that she used her whole body to lie, and Will felt that she concealed deceit in every expression. Right? So those are the two, one of the only two people that can see her for who she is on the inside.
Because Lord Boreal didn't.
No. Ayo. R.I.P. Lord Boreal. So most notably, she was still able to use the power of her flesh and sexuality to deceive and successfully manipulate Metatron.
Yeah, which was huge in the books.
Yes.
Huge story thing, which is kind of there in the show, but not to the extent of in the books for sure.
Right. So now a little bit more onto her personality. So on top of her beauty and, superficial charm that she puts on, right? She also is very well educated. Yes. So she especially for a woman in her world, right? So remember, in Lyra's world, women don't have as many rights as social social privileges as they would in our world, right?
Which is something she actually commented on in Will's world.
Yes, in the series. And then she loves to associate with various people of status and influence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it pairs with her ambition.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, she almost gave what's his name power, right? She like she moved the
right.
chessboard pieces for him to become president or whatever,
Yep.
whatever it's called. I can't
And,
remember.
behind her pretty mask hides a woman of iron in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
So
very true.
it allows, allowing nothing to go against her or get in her way. So her
The
anger is said
juggernaut.
to, and her anger is said to have a metallic scent to it. I think that was even
Ooh,
described in the books a few times.
that's intense.
When she was particularly enraged. She's notably manipulative and ambitious. So,
Yeah.
like managing to use various church organizations and powerful individuals in her quest for power.
That's
Right?
true. Mm-hmm.
So, despite keeping composed and cool in most situations, like Marissa's composure crumbles when Lyra is in danger. So this is hinting at her only kernel of goodness, which gradually begins to overwhelm the sum of her negative traits as the war with the Authority grows closer, right? Which comes to the eventual showdown with Metatron and sacrificing herself and stuff. Now a little bit about her demon. One of the coolest and most frightening demons, in my opinion, the form of a male golden monkey. So, with both his golden fur and Marissa's looks, the pair are able to flatter, entice, and threaten adults and children alike.
Yeah.
It's they're definitely a power. They're definitely a
A
dynamic
power.
duo.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're about to say power couple.
I was about to say power couple. Yeah. His appearance can be the monkey's appearance can be gentle and inviting, but in general, it produced a more negative impression on others than Marissa herself does.
Mm-hmm.
So this sometimes meant that the monkey's appearance betrays some of Marissa's true feelings and intent, otherwise masked by her false gentleness. Right. So, like his human, the monkey is often cruel.
Yeah.
So he reflects Coulter's personality as beautiful on the surface, but inwardly malevolent.
Yeah.
Right.
It kind of hits a switching point though in the book, which is really cool.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. We also kind of see a little bit in the series with him reaching out to Lyra at the end, right after he pulls the lever.
You almost start to notice something too in the show, like visually when they show it in the show, like after she makes like her agreement with the specters, he's almost like freaked out to the point of how far she's willing to go down the evil rabbit hole per se.
Yeah. He's like, I wish I could talk, but you won't listen to me. So
I would say, hell no.
Yeah.
Run away.
So now we're going to get in a little bit to her biography. So in her early life, she was born around 1962 to Madame de la Mare and to an unknown man, right? So she had a younger brother named Marcel who was devoted to her. And then when she was 18, she traveled to Will's World and sat for a portrait at the artist Skipton's studio. So it was there she met the art collector Grinstead, where they became lovers for like a very short time. Right. By this time, Marissa was already involved in politics. And after studying at St. Sophia's College in Oxford, she married the politician Edward Coulter, which got her last name, Mrs. Coulter.
Which you kept.
Yeah. And then her affair with Lord Asriel. So, Marissa selected her lovers for their influence and power. So, but she never became fond of them. That's the thing. Now, while married to Edward Coulter, she had an affair with Lord Asriel that resulted in a daughter, Lyra. So the baby bore no resemblance to Edward. So Marissa hid the affair and claimed the infant had died. So she handed responsibility of the baby to Asriel. And Edward soon learned, though, of the affair and came to Asriel's estate, ransacking the cottage that Lyra was in, and then dueling Asriel before he could reach the baby. So Asriel shot Edward with his own gun and killed him, leaving Marissa a widow. So now this is going into a little bit of her
It's so
career.
funny too, because like Lord Asriel, just speaking of like thinking about Lord Asriel, how he really doesn't care about Lyra, but he did fight for her,
Yeah.
which is so crazy.
That's also, and I know I said I wasn't going to cover a lot of the other books, but there is a few of these that are in the
Book of
other
Dust.
series. Yeah. And so now a little bit of her career leading up to the books in the series, right? So stuff that happened before. So like Marissa she became one of the few female members of the Royal Arctic Institute. She traveled extensively, most notably to Africa, where she acquired spy flies, the little
those beetle things. Yeah.
Yep. And then and learned of zombies, which later will influence her on her intercision work. Right.
Yeah.
So because she was not a man, she had to set up her own networks of power rather than taking the route of priesthood, right? Because there aren't any women priests in Lyra's world.
Yeah.
And so she specialized in dust, something people feared and knew little about. So it quickly gave her the church's financing and resources, as few others were willing to investigate it. Right. So she's kind of like, oh, she's the one that can investigate these taboos for us. Right. So by 1995, Marissa had obtained a role within the consistorial court of discipline and began chairing her own organization, the General Oblation Board, or
Name
GOB,
drop.
as we like to call it. Its activities conceived by her. So she's the one that came up with the organization and stratified it and stuff. So, and this funding allowed her to pursue her personal interests. So she used the precedent of cutting in the church in the form of castration to make the idea more palatable to the priests, which is nuts, by the way. Jeez. The idea of cutting was conceived by Marissa after extensive travel, where she learned that severing a demon was not necessarily fatal, and the theory that in adolescence dust began to settle along with the settling of the demon. So the church's obsession with original sin meant that she could make her research into freeing pubescent children from it in a very attractive light to them. Right? And so basically that's leading up to the point to where she first meets Lyra in the books and in the series.
And it continues with the series.
She's an agent and stuff. And now we're going to skip all the way to post-mortem. So basically what happens after she sacrifices herself and casts herself along with Metatron and Lord Asriel into the abyss.
Yep.
Basically, Serafina Pekkala tells Mary Malone that Marissa and Asriel were responsible for wrestling Metatron into the abyss. So Serafina makes a show of selecting the best arrow from her quiver and snapping it, and basically telling Mary that she had vowed to put an arrow in Marissa's throat after watching her torture the witch near Svalbard, right? But that was symbolic breaking because she's dead. So the revenge pact is over. And then Mary was distressed about how best to break the news to Lyra, but Serafina believed that they should wait until she asked the alethiometer, or as
Ask
it might
why to them.
whether they were going to wait to see if Lyra they were going to wait if they would ask them what happened, or she would just ask the alethiometer what happened, right?
So it just kind of left up in the air.
Up in the air.
Some major changes from the book to the show was her power over the specters, which is just threw me for a loop big time.
Yeah.
But there was some things that were kind of positives. I loved the scene in season 2 when Marissa and Lee Scoresby kind of have a torture scene together. That was super cool. Obviously it's not book stuff, but it was cool to see an interaction like that. That's cool because they technically never interacted before.
Yeah. And also cool. I like that they explored her more, how different the rights of women are in between the two worlds, right?
Yeah.
And that just especially when she meets Mary Malone, and you can, I think I forget the name of the actress who played Marissa Coulter, but she did a fantastic job of she acted perfectly of someone withholding jealousy, right? Because she's if I grew up in this world, I would be so much more.
Queen.
Right? You know, yeah.
I would be a dark queen. Beautiful was the
Yep. Probably
And
Lord of
then-
the Rings fans.
But I mean, they did. I thought the actress Ruth Wilson, I believe is the actress's name, did a
Thank
great
you.
job
Yeah.
portraying her in the show. And that's the backstory. I mean, there's a lot that goes on that is different between like her interaction with the Lord Regent when she gets tested and stuff like that, and little things like that. But overall, I thought they did a great job with her story within the show. We have tons of breakdown videos here, breaking down every episode, where you're gonna hear us break down almost every little thing that was different in the books and stuff like that. There's a lot. Trust me, there's more differences than there are probably similar things. We can be here all day with that, but there you guys have it. That's the backstory of Marissa Coulter. Is there anything else you want to add to
Well,
that?
that's the backstory of Mr. Coulter sans the additional books. There's
Yes.
actually quite a bit more that went on in her life, but you know, just for the sake of not giving you guys too much reading material.
Yeah, if you
know.
guys want to read, that's the Book of Dust, right? Where you would find a lot of that info on her. I
And
believe-
there's also the trilogy that's out. The dang it, the it's not the second one. It's the first one. It's a French name, I think. Yeah. So we get a glimpse of her in the first book in the Book of Dust, which is the second trilogy that's coming out. There's 2 books. 2 of the 3 are out, but I believe a lot of her stuff is in the first book, La Belle Sauvage. And so she's that's where you get a lot of her stuff with I think his name is Bonneville, who is a rival vicious particle physicist or something like that. So yeah,
Well, you heard it here first. No, you probably didn't. But just so you
probably
know,
not.
Kyle's an awesome Instagram account. Pecos to the Zero on Instagram. Go check him out. Go let him know how awesome he is, and thank him for doing all these cool deep dives we've been doing on his Dark Materials. And he's a very talented artist, and he also designs our cool shirts. So if you like Gallivespians, like the books with their dragonflies, go to asart.space to get the shirts. And comment down below other topics and deep dives we're really thinking about doing. Right now, we're just doing some basic little character stuff and backstories that maybe if you're not a book reader, it kind of gets you into it, or it refreshes your memory if you did read the books years ago. You know, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, that's right. But yeah, subscribe to get all the updates. We're gonna be here covering a lot of Dune stuff coming up. We have some Dune stuff in the works we want to do. We're getting excited for Severance. I'm getting excited for Severance at least. The Last of Us, I think, is starting pretty soon too. I'm thinking about covering The Last of Us, which would be fun on HBO Max. So subscribe to get all the updates, and we'll see you on the next AsArt. The Golden... Oh, dang, we're 80